What's up, guys and gals? Iceman here. Welcome to Meditations. Like this video if you will, subscribe to the page, and swat that bell so you're notified next time I post a video, and blessings to my patrons. Links in the description below. So, this was a long time ago, right? I was a little duck-billed platypus, but a child. And I remember I was like 6, 7, or 8 years old, I'm not sure which. And I was often afraid at night. Just the silence, the darkness, the loneliness. I think that's what it was, I'm not entirely sure, but my parents had their bedroom right across the hall. So I would go and visit them sometimes in the middle of the night. I don't think my dad appreciated this, but my mom gave me comfort when I wanted it, I suppose. So one of those nights I went in there and I lied down at the end of the bed next to my mom, facing the wall in the room and the space in between. And I think I fell asleep. I'm not entirely sure. But I remember a vision. I remember a visitation. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this was just like a nightmare or something. I mean, it was so vivid. Yeah. I can picture it now, just thinking back on it. But I remember opening my eyes. I was on my side, right? And just peering into the darkness. And I saw this tall figure standing over me. Its head nearly reaching the ceiling in the bedroom. So I don't know how tall that was. 7 foot tall, 7.5 feet tall bedroom. What's crazy is this thing, it had these ears like this, you know, and then a long snout. And it was dressed in like a chainmail or a garb or something. It's unbelievable. And I was terrified. I was really frozen in fear. Yeah. So I just lied there on my side, staring at this thing, right? And it just stood there looking at me. With like some, what do you call that? Like a sort of, like a gaze of some sort. Not really angrily or fearfully, just observantly. Yeah. And I just remember looking at it and it scared me. I just didn't dare move, you know? I didn't dare say anything. And I don't know what happened after that. I must have closed my eyes and wished it away or something. I'm not entirely sure. And then it must have left or something. Again, maybe this was just a hallucination or a delusion of some sort. Not necessarily a hallucination, but I could have just been dreaming, right? But I mean, it just seems so real. And I could almost feel its presence. It was crazy, and it just didn't seem like anything was distorted like it would be in a dream or a nightmare. It's like everything in that room was just how I pictured it. Just how I knew it to be. And my mom was lying behind me. I don't know which way she was facing, but I mean, she sleeps through a lot, to my understanding. And I don't remember if I told her about it. I don't think I did. I think I was so afraid. And I just knew that they wouldn't believe me. Now, throughout my days, I haven't really had any other visions or whatever you will. I mean, maybe once or twice in odd instances, which I guess I could talk about in later videos. I touched on one or two in my past videos. But aside from that, I mean, there was some situation about a year ago, actually, where I wasn't sleeping for days and days, and I might have seen a few things. I'll cover that in future videos. But this was something, I mean, it was unlike anything else, just how alive this creature was in front of me. And what's crazy is I look back now, it wasn't until far later, it just kind of crossed my mind because I remember seeing these things depicted on like the History Channel and stuff, like those old ancient Egyptian gods and this and that, and deities, hybrids of sorts. And with the emergence now on YouTube of the dogman content, right, the werewolf content, I've seen a few depictions of these things where I'm like, that looked just like the thing in my dream. Like down to the T. And I'm like, and I don't think I saw these depictions back when I was a kid. You know? I mean, it's possible, but I don't know. So I look it up, right? And there's this guy. It's called Anubis or something. An ancient Egyptian god who is often depicted with the head of a jackal or dog. He's the god of the underworld, according to Wikipedia here, or a Google AI result, actually. Protector of graves. Anubis is also associated with death, mummification, and guiding the souls of the deceased to the afterlife. But in ancient Egyptian mythology, they often viewed it as a protective deity, right? So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, here's a couple photos of it. You guys can look this up if you want. But see, like that guy standing up there? I mean, that's what it looked like. It's just crazy. And he had the garb on, the little chainmail thing and everything. I mean, it freaked me out. I mean, on one hand, you could say, well, Iceman, that's demonic stuff. Or Iceman, that was just a nightmare. And I mean, you could be right. And part of me, to a certain extent, hopes that you are, or hopes that I'm right, when I think it was just chance, chaos, a dream, a figment in my imagination. But I mean, we could go down the rabbit hole a little bit with something like this. We could say, okay, I don't know. Demon? I don't know. What else is there? And it's interesting in these recent years now, especially on this channel when I've been exploring things like the Nephilim, right? They're sons of God. That's what they were called in the book of Genesis, in the Holy Bible, Old Testament. The sons of God. And it didn't say if they were good or evil, but it said they were men of renown. And it said they found the daughters of man appealing to their eyes. They bred with them. They were there in the days of Noah and the days after. They were, some folks say they're fallen angels. But I mean, these could be different things. The Nephilim, fallen angels, the sons of God. You know what I'm saying? These could all be different things. They might not all be the same. Because again, in Genesis, it didn't say that they were evil. I'm sure that eventually they were corrupted like man or anything else. And perhaps a part of that corruption was the breeding with human women. But from that, a lot of these guys on YouTube say, oh yeah, that's where all these ancient Egyptian gods came from. Hercules, Achilles, everything else. The Starbucks chick. What's her name again? Who's that bitch on the Starbucks mug? I can't remember her name. But yeah, that Egyptian goddess or something, right? Of fertility. Which I don't know if that really makes sense because like caffeine's in that crap and that can have negative psychological effects. But I mean, or it could be beneficial in other ways to man. But you see where I'm going with this? Do I see where I'm going with this? What was this video about again? No, I'm just kidding. So, yeah, I mean, it's, maybe it could be argued, oh, Iceman, yeah, you were visited by an embodiment of a sort, a nether being, something that phases between reality as we know it and as we do not. You're visited either for good or for evil. Maybe it was a sign protecting you throughout. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, you see those things depicted throughout ancient cultures, right? Various gods of old. And for the longest time, for ages, I would just think, oh yeah, those are just complete myths, this and that, because yeah, I believe in Jesus and the Bible. But what's interesting is the Bible and Jesus don't refute those things. In fact, little did I know, after all the church going I've done, these guys never talk about this stuff, you know, at the church and all that. They never talk about this, the depth of the Bible or these things that are kind of hard to explain, kind of hard to fit into the modern paradigm of Christianity and all that. But I mean, the stuff's in the Bible. You know, the Nephilim, the sons of God, the giants, you know, fallen angels and so forth. I mean, again, these could be all different things. Maybe just like man. You know how man can either be more of an embodiment or vessel of Satan or vessel of God. A lot of us are probably just something in between. Whoever is fully filled, you know what I'm saying? It seems like we're always at battle with the flesh. Just it's just a constant freaking daily battle, you know, there's corruption. No, and we always miss the mark at the end of it all. You know, we all fall short of the glory of God, as the scriptures say. But you see what I'm saying? Maybe in the same way, these those sons of God of old or whatever, kind of a battle of both as well. But I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? And I know that there's the guy who says, oh yeah, the Nephilim, they look like clowns. They got the pale skin, they got the red lips, symbolic of cannibalism. They're tall, the big hands, the small hats to create the illusion that they're giants like the Nephilim. Like the clowns are like a depiction of the Nephilim is what this whole thing goes on about, which probably has some merit to it. Because, I mean, then you have a lot of modern, or not modern, but ancient civilizations that claim they were giants, that were cannibals, you know, and with pale skin and all that, lived in caves, this and that. Just like how in the Bible it goes on about how the day of God, what do they call it? The terrible day of the Lord or something. They'll go hiding in the rocks. All right. Some say we're in that. Or somewhere in between. But I would propose this. What if the Nephilim looked like werewolves? Yeah. What if they looked like dogmen? I mean, I could be on something. I think they probably look like both. These guys on YouTube going about, they're like, oh yeah, they would interbreed with different species, this and that. Labs, this and that. Yeah, they've been hiding it for centuries. Technology's further along than we all know. It's hidden ancient technology. And oh yeah, there's the werewolves about, and the Bigfoot, the Sasquatch is about. The hybrid creatures of sorts. The man with the face of a dog. You know what I mean? They'll say like, oh yeah, this stuff goes way back. They'll say, yeah, that's part of what these fallen angels or Nephilim are. These are descendants of them. They're among us. So, I mean, realistically, you could go as far as to say, yeah, all of it is real. And you could go back to before and say, oh, no, it's all fantasy. It's all mythology. It's just Jesus. Everything else is just our imaginations. But then, like I said, if you go into the depth of it all, and you still want to hold the Bible as true, I mean, it opens it all up. I didn't even know about this stuff until I decided to investigate a bit further beyond that which we get from our Christian books and the churches, you know what I mean? Like in the Old Testament as well, it goes on about how the ancient Israelites were told by God to go into the land of Canaan or whatever, a land that possessed giants that made these folks appear like grasshoppers, all right? And I can't help but wonder, those guys helped make the frickin' pyramids and Stonehenge and all that shit, you know what I'm saying? Chop down those big trees, Devil's Peak, petrified wood. But I mean, I don't know. I'm curious what you guys have to say about this. So let me know in the comments below. What do you think that was all about? That situation I had as a child. Do you think the Nephilim looked like werewolves? Let me know in the comments below and like this video if you guys will. And I will see you tomorrow. Peace be with you.